and welcome to another episode of Exotic Escapades. In my journey across the continent, I've been stepping in and out of great Asian cities to bring you the best of their arts, culture and entertainment. And here I am on another one of India's many offerings of public transport. This is the camel cart, and I am in the glorious historical city of Agra. Agra is one of the most magical cities in all of India because of its rich history that you can still experience today. This is one of the few places where you can find the legacy of the Mughal emperors who made a lot of important contributions to India's culture and history. Mughals were renowned for their passion for art, and the period of their rule was the golden period of India's exquisite architectural history. In a way, Agra is like a living history book. This city was the capital of the Mughals during their ruling period and benefited from a lot of care and construction to create a city pleasing to them. The end result is architecture unlike any seen in the rest of the world, including one of the seven wonders, the Taj Mahal. With one of the most famous monuments in the entire world right here in Agra, made from beautiful white marble and covered with inlay work, it's no wonder that the artisans of Agra have become experts at the art of inlay. And I am about to meet someone who's going to show me the finer points. The Mughals introduced marble inlay work to India in the 17th century. It is a closely protected traditional art, and only a few expert exponents are available today. Oh, wow! That is truly an amazing piece of work. I don't think I've ever seen an artistic depiction of Shah Jahan looking at the Taj Mahal. Agra particularly is famous for this art form, which is a very precise and elegant inlay work. Inlay work becomes such a big deal in Agra?
Well, actually, after finishing the work for the Taj Mahal, those people, like say, they started working in Agra, and now the descendants of the same families, they keep this art alive. And it's not going to be possible to see this out of Agra.
The craftsmen of Agra have mastered the art of inlaying marble with complex, beautiful designs. Any such artwork may contain thousands of stones, precisely cut and shaped, taking months and even years to complete. The master artist hand draws the primary design on paper, which is then traced onto the marble. Accordingly, a precise groove is chiseled onto the marble skin. A scheme of semi-precious stones is then selected according to its color, luster and appearance. Stones like lapis lazuli, malachite, jasper, turquoise and coral are used. These are semi-precious stones that were used to embellish the Taj Mahal. This is a slow, laborious task that takes precision, meticulousness and lots of patience. Stones are individually shaped using a traditional hand-driven wheel shaper. Each stone is ground into an exact shape and size, and they are built into precise grooves known as parai. And this is mother of pearl?
Yeah, it's mother of pearl.
This makes it kind of have a bit of a 3D effect.
Yeah.
That's the whole idea, isn't it? Training of such skill must begin early, passed on from father to son, from master to pupil. Learning the skill is an invaluable education in artistry. This is what keeps the Taj Mahal still alive to this day. Agra and the surrounding areas is a wonderful, wonderful way for a traveler to be completely immersed in art and beautiful architecture. Fatehpur Sikri in particular is a fine example of the Mughal finesse for beautiful, beautiful buildings. In fact, an entire impressive city. The Emperor Akbar came here to ask the blessings of a son from a renowned Sufi mystic, Sheikh Salim Chishti. His prayer was heard, and soon a son was born. Akbar honored the Sheikh as Prince Salim and vowed to establish a new city. That's how Fatehpur Sikri rose on the rocky hills 40 kilometers away from Agra. Created in the 16th century, Fatehpur Sikri holds an important place in the history of the Mughals. This magnificent town was once the political capital of the Mughal Empire, where a royal experiment in architecture took place to exercise their passion for buildings. Emperor Akbar was reputed to be a very tolerant ruler, and the buildings at Fatehpur Sikri blended both Islamic and Hindu elements in their architectural style, with pictures of views, flowers or animals instead of the usual calligraphy of Islamic architecture. The grounds were completed in 1571, but were abandoned just after 15 years because of the lack of nearby water. However, even if it failed as a capital, it succeeded as a think tank and a source of inspiration. Till today, the famous National Institute of Design in India owes its creation and inspiration to Fatehpur Sikri. It's no surprise then that this place has been declared an important World Heritage Site.
Thank you. Lunch, naturally in the middle of an Agra bazaar, and we're surrounded by amazing architecture. We have a lot to thank the Mughals for. They really created some amazing buildings. But of course, if you really want to know all about Mughal architecture, well, hey, you gotta go see it next.
Professor Nath isn't just a man of books or even history. He's also a man of passion. And his passion is the Mughals, the empire that ruled India for so many years, left such an unforgettable imprint on society, and then disappeared.
When we write history, we will have to go back to 16th century and to know what sort of life they were living. At Agra, people had a different attitude of life from what they have today. They love to be dressed gorgeously. They love to eat sumptuously. They love to have a large haram, say 10 women or 100 women in their haram, and they patronize fine arts like it. Architecture before Babur, the founder of Mughal dynasty in India, was brick and mortar. They raised their tombs and mosques without any relationship with the environment. Babur came and he said, no, we are first going to lay down gardens with tree avenues, flower potteries, and at the same time with water devices, canals, cascades on which water flows, tanks. So he associated architecture with these water devices and garden.
The professor has been pursuing his interest in Mughal architecture for decades. He has written 60 books and over 300 papers on the study of history and culture in India, particularly the Mughals. Today, he is the unquestioned authority on this dramatic period in India's history.
First, a civilization develops, and then they learn how to live qualitatively. So architecture is virtually the flower of the whole culture and civilization of a people who reside over a piece of land, who reside in a region. It is related to the culture, to the language of the people, to the literature of the people, or to the entire cultural milieu, without which architecture cannot grow. You can't study architecture without land, without people. So that we call a humanistic interpretation.
He is also a local boy. The professor was born and bred in Agra, and it's still the part of India he loves best. During his life here, he has been a carpet merchant and even worked in a telegraph office. But it was always the monuments and buildings surrounding Agra that appealed to him, and he finally devoted his life to their study.
There are certain things which give spiritual solace, spiritual consolation, which no material thing can change. I worked at Jaipur, and there I had my own land. I tried to settle down there. My friends also told me, but ultimately I decided. I was born at Agra. I was educated at Agra. Every brick of Agra is known to me, and I'm known to each and every monument, so I should go back and live there, spend my last days at Agra. So that is inherent affection for Watan, for the place of birth, which is in everybody.
Well, now that I've learned a little bit about Mughal architecture and I've seen some of the amazing structures that the Mughals built, these guys were crazy architects. They built beautiful, beautiful, overwhelming buildings. Though nothing could be quite as overwhelming as being right here in front of the Taj Mahal. Look at that. This is the ultimate Indian love story between the Emperor Shah Jahan and his lady love, the chosen one, Mumtaz Mahal. They were married for a long time, and when she died, his heart broke, and he built the Taj Mahal in honor of her. This is also what the poet Tagore called a teardrop on the face of time.
Of all the Mughal emperors, Shah Jahan was the greatest patron of architecture in India. It was during his reign that the Mughal power attained its greatest prosperity. When his wife died, he was so devastated that he built the Taj Mahal as both a last resting place and an architectural declaration of his eternal love for his wife. The Taj Mahal is a unique monument, incorporating Ottoman, Hindu and Mughal architecture throughout its structure. It took over a decade to build, and it nearly bankrupted the whole empire. But Shah Jahan had a mission to make his monument made structurally impressive and also beautiful to behold forever. Shah Jahan's sad story did not end at the Taj Mahal. It was another impressive piece of Mughal architecture where he spent his last years of life, the Agra Red Fort. Despite his successes as a patron of art and architecture, Shah Jahan had never expected that his last days would be so utterly tragic. With his old age and his poor health, Shah Jahan could only helplessly watch the serious outbreak of hostility among his sons. Shah Jahan was only a spectator at the savage contest. The emergence of Aurangzeb as the undisputed victor led to the father's imprisonment in the Agra fort. Tended by Jahanara, his eldest daughter, Shah Jahan was confined to the fort for 8 years. The fort, also known as Lal Kil, is about 2.5 kilometers northwest of the Taj Mahal. The construction of the magnificent Agra fort, built of blocks of red sandstone, began in 1565 during the reign of the great Mughal Emperor Akbar. The fort was completed in 1605 during the reign of his grandson Shah Jahan. The fort has a historically interesting mix of Hindu and Islamic architecture. For example, the Jahangir's Palace, the red sandstone construction, is a characteristic of Mughal architecture with its elaborate decorations. Or Taj Mahal, which was built entirely of marble by Shah Jahan and demonstrates distinctive Islamic Persian features. On the left of the Taj Mahal is the Musamman Burj, an octagonal tower with an open pavilion. It is made of delicate marble lattices with ornamental niches for the ladies of the court to gaze out unseen. A veranda surrounds the chamber with a marble dome on top, with a beautifully carved fountain in the center. The tower looks out over the river Yamuna and is traditionally considered to have one of the most poignant views of the Taj Mahal. This is where Shah Jahan rested on his deathbed, gazing at his Taj Mahal, dreaming about his beloved wife. What a truly wonderful spot, which was to end my trip to the Grand Red Fort.
Landscape and architecture are everywhere in Agra. I mean, literally everywhere you go, you're surrounded by beautiful buildings. But that's not the only art that Agra is famous for. Ask the locals around here and they'll tell you, this is the place where petha was discovered, a wonderful pumpkin sweetmeat that the Mughal emperors used to lure all those guys into building those fantastic buildings and keeping them cool in the summertime. What is your interest with petha?
Since I born in Agra, I brought up in this culture. Petha is one of the important and very interesting thing of Agra. I am fond of petha. I eat from my very beginning, so it is my favorite food. One of the oldest petha making place, about 100 years old.
Fantastic.
Anita, now I'm going to show you how they make the petha, a step by a step. This is the first step, where they cut the big white pumpkin into 4 pieces.
Okay.
Then they have to remove this skin one by one and seed portion separate.
Okay.
And then they make holes and make it spongy.
Okay. Tenderizing process, just like a piece of meat.
Yeah.
So it's become soft and like a sponge.
Yeah. Then the third step is to keep it in a soft lime water about 1 hour.
To soak it.
Just to soak it and make it harden. To cut it easily into pieces.
This is what you call a marvel of science. Just prior to this, what I felt was just, typical vegetable. And now it's all spongy and chewy.
They have to wash these pieces into fresh, normal water.
Okay.
In a very proper way to take off the extra lime from it. After washing it out properly to take off the extra lime, we boil it with a fresh, normal water. It takes about 1 hour to boil it properly to take some more extra lime.
Okay.
And it is really, really filtered nicely. These pieces of the boiled pieces of the pumpkin from the fresh water to the
Into the hot. Wow.
sugar syrup.
Okay.
They have to boil here about more than 2 hours and less than 3 hours. It depends. They add some milk also, just thin milk to make it white and soft. Now this is the final process of the petha making. After getting it little cooled down, they are taking it out the small pieces to drain the extra syrup of the sugar.
Smells wonderful. Now you know when you eat a piece of petha, if you come to Agra, the kind of work that's gone into it. Unreal. It looks like glistening pieces of jewels. And my mouth is watering.
Now I'm going to show you the most exciting part of the petha packing. How they pack, how they give the different flavor, different colors, where we can taste also. So have a little patience.
I was waiting for you to say taste, because packing is not exciting, tasting is exciting.
Of course, we will give you.
Wow, so this is where the packing is done.
Yeah, this is the place where after making all the pethas process, after making the final pieces, they bring it here and they give the different flavors different colors,
Oh, okay. So
and pack it.
they actually have different flavors
Yeah,
of petha.
yeah,
Sanjay, I know what I need to do, and I'm going to start with the original.
yeah, please.
Wow, the texture is completely different. It's like rock sugar. Absolutely delicious. And it's juicy inside. Who would have known? Wow. Okay, so now I have to try the mango. Delicious. And it tastes completely different from the other petha.
This is khas flavor.
First flavor.
Khas?
Yeah, khas is a type of fruit.
Oh, it smells beautiful. It's very aromatic, very perfumed. A little is good enough. And so I have to try the last one in the row. Now this is orange flavor.
Yes.
Oh, and it has a little cashew nut on the top. And it's surrounded by coconut. It's delicious. You know, now that I've made my way through all the petha making and tasting, I know what hard work it must have been like working on the Taj Mahal. And having a little piece of petha every day must have given those guys a lot of energy. And it's sweet, just like Agra. What's up?
Little cat. Yeah.
This is why people come to Agra, because of the mystical beauty of it. Here I am at sunset, which is the perfect moment to actually view the Taj Mahal. This is the real secret. Get on a boat behind the Taj Mahal and just cruise down the river. I've got the moon in front of me, the sun setting behind me, a camel on the banks. What more could I ask for? Art, architecture, I've been immersed in this and I've had such an incredible time. But I've got to go. Until the next episode of Exotic Escapades, safe travels.